Hi, I'm Dr. Rob Vasquez from Elevation Health.
And I'm Dr. Randy Johns.
Today we're talking to you about the upcoming workshop. This upcoming workshop's about the #1 disease killer out there, and that's heart disease. Dr. Randy, why is it important that everybody gets to this workshop?
Yeah, Dr. Rob, this is critical that we get every single person to this workshop because of the significance of heart disease, the devastation it creates to families, the cost that it does for families, and the reality that it can totally be prevented if the right measures are taken. And unfortunately, we've been sold a bill of goods in America that heart disease really is genetic. It's your skin color. There's really nothing you can do except testing or after the fact treatment. And we're going to really empower each one of you as patients and the guests that you bring on what the real cause of heart disease is. How could we ever prevent anything if you don't know the cause? So we're going to go through real specific causes of heart disease. We're going to expose the myths about heart disease, and once again, how you and your family can really heart disease proof, so to say, your family, your children, so you never have to be in that situation. And if you've already had a heart attack, you know, the ramifications of being on the medications, the damage that can cause, and the recurrence rate. We're going to show you how to reverse that, strengthen your heart, strengthen your circulation, reduce inflammation, actually show you how to create a 28% more efficient heart through proper nutritional strategies, and obviously through the Elevation Health protocols.
Hey, you said something just a few seconds ago about it, heart disease being genetic. Okay,
Right.
I know in my family, people die of heart disease. Okay, I know through what we teach with Elevation Health that it's not genetic, but there's people that are listening right now that are thinking about, you know, whether they should come to the workshop.
Right.
And they've been taught that it is genetic. Let's talk about that for a second. You know, is it genetics?
Yeah, it's just not that simple. You know, I just don't buy into that. It's genetics almost like a cop-out, like, well, it's just your genetics, when the reality is there's no such thing as a genetic epidemic. Yet, wouldn't we both agree, and I think everybody watching now would agree, we have an epidemic of people dying of heart disease. And so genetically, you can't have an epidemic. It would take hundreds of thousands of years for genetics to mutate, like they're saying, to get to the point where literally half of us are dying from this deadly condition. And so what happens is genetics play a very small role. There's factors that can influence your genetics, but ultimately that's about a 1 to 2% factor. And so for most people watching, this would never be the issue. The reality is not your genetics, it's how you're healing, how you're functioning, and the factors that can turn these genes on to cause a problem in your body. So to blame the genetics is way too simple. It's a cop-out. We're going to show you why heart disease scientifically is not genetic, why you can actually take charge of your health, and once again be empowered. The whole victim mentality of it's my genetics, my skin color, nothing I can do, woe is me, que sera, sera, that's not an empowered state of mind. So we're going to show you actually why it's not genetic, why we can help you to prevent it, why we can empower you and your family to never be in this situation ever again.
So if somebody came to the last heart disease workshop, one of the things that I hear sometimes is, well, I came to the heart disease workshop. Why would I come to another one? Why would I come to the new one? Why should they come to this workshop?
Well, you know, the workshops are done monthly for a reason. You know, most of the information we get through TV, radio, newspaper, and the general public really it's not accurate. It's really, we've been misled. We've almost been lied to about what real health is. And a lot of you patients have found out through our clinics, through Elevation Health offices, that real health comes from within. And so the workshop not only can reinforce the principle in your spirit, but it can also show you direct strategies on how to take action in preventing heart disease. As you know, that you're the doctor, that the patient, you're the doctor, that the greatest doctors in you. So the goal to health isn't to treat symptoms or to remove or treat organs, it's to remove interference to your body's healing power that's in you. So we're going to show them how to do that, number one. And number two, you know, the information you get from our clinics, we're dedicated as an Elevation doctor. That your Elevation doctor is 1,000% committed to bringing you the most cutting edge information every single week from our newsletters, our workshops, and our programs to make sure you stay on the cutting edge of real health. So if you've missed 1 or 2 workshops, you could be 6 to 12 months behind the research and way behind the 8 ball, so to say.
The other thing is this, and I always say it's kind of like saying, you know, well, I went to church last weekend, so I guess I don't need to go this weekend. I guess it just didn't take right, so I got to keep on going. You know, so people miss that, and the reality, though, is, would you agree that you see this with patients? And even in my family, I've even seen it. You know, we're not 100% perfect, and even as I'm preparing for these workshops, I'm always learning, you know, something new or going, wow, I can't believe I'm not already doing that. It may be something little that I missed, and so that patients can always pick up those things so that we can be able to get as close to 100% as we possibly can. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree. And plus, too, as a patient, if let's say you've been to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus workshops. I know we have patients that have been with us now for years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and they've come to so many workshops. And let's say they have all this information down. But the reality is, how many people don't know this information? So let's say that you know the information, Dr. Rob, but you know another 20, 30, 40, 50 people who don't know this. And because you know it, you have a responsibility and a moral responsibility, an ethical responsibility to make sure they have this information. This information can literally save their lives. So that's why we would, ask you as patients to be thinking about who you care about, who would love to prevent heart disease. Everybody we know, yet they don't know how to do it. They're not learning it from their doctor. Clearly, the pharmaceutical company is not going to help you prevent heart disease. They want you on drugs the rest of your life. You're not going to learn this through any other resource than what we can show you the real cause, the real way to prevent it, and actually how to put this in place. Plus, the most dangerous interference to our health is what's between our ears. And we can't fix that subluxation on an adjustment table. That has to happen through the workshop programs that you attend as you begin to learn and implement the strategies, which can take years to really begin to master and put into place and to begin to really make a huge difference. You start putting in little things, next thing you know, 10 years have gone by, you've changed a lot of things. So heart disease is one of those things you don't want to know a little bit about, you want to know everything about. You can't roll the dice on a 1 and 2 person gambling rate of dying of heart disease. And so remember, you don't feel heart disease. That's a big misconception that you can feel it. But heart disease, you could build up to 90-95% blockage in your arteries, have no idea, yet you're 6 months out, from dropping dead. Everybody knows of Dr. Mehmet Oz, and he has a famous show, and everybody watches the Dr. Oz show. Well, Dr. Oz was John Ritter's cardiologist. Everybody remembers John Ritter's from Three's Company. One of my favorite shows as a kid, kind of dating me, I guess, aging me. I guess that was with the 70s. And
I watched it too. That means we're both old.
So John Ritter's story, John Ritter had literally no symptoms, had no idea, and dropped dead of a heart attack. And Dr. Mehmet Oz said that one of the reasons that happened is that your heart doesn't have pain fibers. And so you don't feel disease building in your body until it's too what?
Too late.
Until it's too late. And so we're going to show you why you don't feel heart disease, what the real cause of heart disease is. It's actually not necessarily your genetics, it's your excuse me, I can't get the word out of my mouth. It's the inflammation that causes the problem. It's the inflammatory condition of your body through toxic foods and toxic chemicals and the things that we're doing, too much sugar, all the refined foods, the trans fatty acids that are building a major inflammatory condition in our body.
Okay. Now, you said one thing, okay, so we're going to be giving information. But information is one thing. Is there going to be some strategies for people to be able to implement? Like literally go to the workshop, leave the workshop, boom, I've got some strategies that I can start doing these things right now.
Yeah, so one of my favorite quotes is from Kenny Luck, who's the associate pastor out at Saddleback Church in California. He says that information without application is hallucination. And so we don't want to just, we don't want to spray information. The workshops are designed not only to educate you, but to help you take action. Faith without works is dead. Information without action is not going to change anything. And so sometimes you have to hear things several times before you actually take action. But the workshops are set up where you can come in, you can begin to implement these strategies immediately, from hormone-based nutrition to what your heart performs at a 28% more efficiency rate with. What's the preferred fuel for your heart? How do we reduce inflammation? How do you really prevent heart disease and walk out of there with the lower risk of having a heart attack or reducing it almost to zero, not only for you, for your wife, your children, your friends, your family? What's it worth to come to a workshop, learning this information, and then putting it into place? Not only the health benefit, but the cost benefit. The number one cause of bankruptcy we have to remember is losing your health. You lose your health, you lose everything. And heart disease can be one of the most costly things to ever happen to a family. It can be one of the most devastating things to happen to a family. So we are petitioning and urging you to really take action. You need to be getting signed up right now for this workshop and be thinking about who you care about, who do you love, who do you want to know about how to really prevent heart disease, how to really take responsibility, how to really begin to take action in your life to truly get the best benefit from your experience here at Elevation Health.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So every single one of you guys watching, this is something that not only you need to come to, but this is also something that you need to bring your friends, your family members to. I speak from personal experience. My grandfather, massive heart attack. If he'd have had this information, he'd still be here today. And so you have the opportunity, and not only an opportunity, but an obligation to invite those other people that were just like my grandfather that never heard that information. So like I said, if he'd have got it, he'd still be here. And there's a lot of people out there that are just begging for this. And it's a silent killer, so you don't know that it's going on. So this is something that everybody needs to come to. And I know I'm going to do my part in making sure that our patients are coming, but we also want to make sure that you guys are bringing everybody you know.
Yeah, and there's just so many people out there just like your grandfather, Dr. Rob. So there's so many more grandfathers and grandmothers and moms and dads, and even moms and dads don't ever be great parents if we don't really help empower them, make sure they don't end up like like your grandfather had to go through, and the impact that made to your family. So I know I speak on behalf of all of us in Elevation Health. We are super excited about the workshop. We're so thankful to be able to serve you and take care of you. Let us help keep serving you through this workshop. So get signed up today, sign up your guests, and we look forward to seeing you at the workshop.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dr.
Okay,
Randy.
God bless.